Hi, welcome to week 2 of EDLD 5345. This week we're going to be talking about human talent, and we're going to be talking about hiring, selection, and retention, which are very important pieces of a school leader. Your to-do this week is to read chapter 5 in your textbook Breakthrough Principle. There's also an article called Solving the Teacher Shortage, How to Attract and Retain Excellent Educators. We want you to either attend or view the week 2 web conference and view the week 2 lecture, complete your assignment. But the good news is there is no discussion board for week 2, so you don't have to do a discussion board. So building principals should know how to promote high quality teaching by using the selection, placement, and retention practices that promote teacher growth and excellence. So once an applicant applies for a position, then it's the principal's responsibility to review, screen the applicants, and choose several of the applicants to interview. They also may have a team of campus leaders to help them go through that process. And so they need to know how to engage, model, and communicate ethics and professional norms that are related to these areas. So in week 2, you're going to be given some opportunities to demonstrate your ability to develop a hiring plan based on some gaps in some campus staff and make sure that you're using ethical practices. So as in week 1, this is your rubric that will guide you. Please make sure that you read the exceeds because we want to make sure that you cover everything. This is where your IA is going to be grading, and so as they start looking for things in this, they're going to be deducting points. So if you're trying to figure out why you lost points, go to this column and see if you've got everything in there. Make sure that you are thorough so that the IA, as they're grading, knows that you really understand the content and you can articulate your understanding as you complete the assignment. So make sure that you're looking at all of those last columns. So this week in part 1, you're going to meet with 3 of your classroom teachers. I know that you're probably all going, oh no, how's that going to happen? Meet with them virtually. Meet with them in Google Hangouts, call them on the phone, do whatever you need to do, but you really need to meet with 3 of your classroom teachers. If you can't get with teachers on your campus, find 3 classroom teachers that you know and meet with them. And what you're going to do is you're going to review together this model code of ethics for educators, and then you're going to set up some norms or dispositions or core beliefs about your campus. You're going to develop some interview questions that are sort of aligned to those norms, and you're going to come up with what you think the ideal candidate looks like. So when you're making your norms, you want to make sure that you're supporting an educational progress and the well-being of the students and the adults on the campus. You want to collaborate and communicate those types of norms through what you think a teacher profile would look like. So when you get ready to interview, if you've got your campus norms or your campus beliefs, and you also have what you think an ideal candidate will look like, it's going to help you through this process to select people to come in for interviews, to determine that this person might not be a right fit for your campus, because you can have someone come in that knows their content, but if you have, let's say you believe in restorative justice on your campus, but this person doesn't, or one of your core beliefs is that all children can learn, but this candidate doesn't think that special education children can learn, you certainly don't want to bring them in and waste your time and their time. So let's take a look at what's going to happen. And the first part is you're going to read the MCEE and you're going to create your norms. They might look like something like this. Believe that every student has the ability to learn. Communicate effectively and professionally. Demonstrate a respect and honor for cultural diversity. Those are just 2 or 3 that you can sort of model after, but you can have as many as you want for your core beliefs. I would say that a campus probably should have somewhere around 6 core beliefs about what they believe about what should happen in their school. Once you get finished with that, then you're going to create the ideal teacher profile. For example, you might say the ideal teacher candidate is a student-centered lifelong learner who is aligned with our mission and vision of the school and is a collaborative team member. You might say something like the ideal candidate is patient, enthusiastic, caring, engaging, and has the ability and drive for establishing and maintaining both student relationships and a classroom environment that promotes student learning. So you kind of see two examples of what your ideal profile look like. It doesn't have to be any kind of massive kind of statement, but something that when you are interviewing people, you can look at this and say, oh yeah, I know that I'm going to ask questions about what does it look like to be student-centered. I'm going to ask questions to make sure this person really is a lifelong learner, or this person is caring and engaging. I'm going to make sure that they understand what collaboration means. How do they develop their classroom to promote student learning? So as you're thinking about the ideal teacher profile, now you're going to be thinking about what kinds of questions should I ask them that align with your core beliefs and align with your profile. Remember that you make sure that you go back and look at legal policy DAA that we discussed this week in week 1, and make sure that you've got some questions that are based on your campus vision, mission, and campus improvement plan. The interview questions have to align with EEOC guidelines, so you can't ask about race, national origin, religion, gender, sexual orientation, disability, those kinds of things. So here might be a couple of questions that you might can ask. Describe what you see in your ideal classroom. Do you believe every child can learn? Why or why not? Tell me about a time when your patient with a student was challenged. What happened and how did you resolve it? So go back and make sure that those questions are aligned with your core beliefs and your teacher profile. And then the fourth question is going to be, as a future leader, why do you think it's important to establish norms and core beliefs in an ideal profile? So this is, can you articulate why you think these things are important? All right, part 2 is going to be a recruitment, selection, and hiring plan. So according to Gross and Darmond, school districts oftentimes use the recruitment process to make sure that they have an adequate pool of qualified applicants. You should take into consideration the needs of the school, and that requires approaching recruitment and selection differently than what we've done in the past. So districts are not waiting for applicants to come to them. They are going out and seeking the best applicants through formal and informal activities. So you need to have a comprehensive recruitment and selection and hiring approach. You need to first look at what your current staffing needs are and where you need to really focus your recruitment efforts. So I've got a chart for you, and you're going to use the chart below that's got some information about it, and you're going to look at that and manipulate the data and plan a recruitment and selection that's going to reflect the diversity of your student body and articulate your understanding of looking at this data and how would you, if your superintendent said you can hire a new person on your campus, you have to justify it. So how would you justify that you needed another second grade teacher or you needed someone that had better classroom management? So let's take a look at this capacity chart. So the way that we've done it is I've just given the teacher a name, how many years they've been teaching, how many years they've been at your school, what grade they're currently teaching or content, what they've taught in the past, what kind of certifications they have, what's their highest degree, and then here are some skill levels that I'm looking for. Do they have great communication skills? Are they good organizers? Are they collaborative? Are they creative? Do they have critical thinking? What about your technology skills? Are they great leaders? Do they really believe in lifelong learning? Are they fabulous at classroom management? What's their content knowledge? Do they have some interpersonal skills? Are they committed? And do they have confidence? Those are all the kinds of skill levels that you need to see spread out across your campus. And so as you're looking at this data, that's what you're going to be looking at. So I've given you the data, and now you're going to answer some questions about this data. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, where are the content gaps in our school? So you might think, okay, how many of our teachers are teaching outside their certification area? How many of our teachers have a master's degree in the content area? How many of them this is their first year to teach? And does your district expect any changes in student enrollment? So as you're thinking about the chart, also kind of think about the experiences that you have in your school so that you can kind of mesh the two, thinking about, do you think you're going to have any change in enrollment next year? which may be a very difficult thing for you to think about depending on what happens next year when we go back to school, if we go back to school. Then you're going to talk about what kind of skill gaps. So you're going to refer to the chart and you're going to research what things or what skills an effective teacher has. And are you covering all of that with your demographics in your school with your faculty? What's the diversity skill? Is it in one grade? Is there diversity of skill throughout the school? The question number 4, is there diversity of experience? So you're going to be looking at what kind of experience. You don't want to have all brand new teachers in first grade. You don't want to have all of your veteran teachers in 8th grade. So those are the kinds of things that you're looking at. And then what are the equity gaps? So again, who has inexperienced teachers? What grade level has the most inexperience? What grade level has a high rate of turnover? And what about ethnicity? And again, you may have to be thinking about your own school as you think about this. And then based on your summary and reflecting on those questions, now you're going to develop a recruitment, selection, and hiring and induction process. And you're going to use the guiding questions. I want you to look at your week 2 reading, chapter 5 in the breakthrough principle to help you with this part of the assignment. So here are questions. After you determine your need, how do you notify your central office that you need a faculty position? Where do you find your most successful hires? Do the most successful hires have anything in common with each other? So do you call your teachers in and say, hey, we need a 2nd grade teacher. Do y'all know anybody at another school that's like a superhero teacher that we can go out and recruit? Do you go out to Facebook? Do you go to career fairs? Those kinds of things. What is your current hiring process? How do you announce positions? And what are some research-based practices for hiring? If the current hiring process has been in place for several years, have your teachers remained at the school and have they been successful members of the staff? So is your recruitment process and hiring process working? And how do you include team members, or how are the teachers on the campus, included in this process? Who's responsible? What are the responsibilities? Do y'all have training? And if so, what kinds of topics are covered? And then identify some criteria that you'll use to screen your candidates. You can use your teacher profile and your interview questions. How will you assess candidates? How will you check the references? How will final decisions be made? How will candidates be notified? And then as a future school leader, explain your understanding and your capacity on how you will undertake this really important process of recruitment, selection, and hiring in your school setting. And that is your week 2 assignment. So remember to go back and look at your readings for the week, and also do some searches for what are the most effective practices for hiring, recruitment, and selection. I hope you all have a great week, and we'll see you in the web conference this week.